Hey there, true crime friends. Welcome to part 2 of the Rosebud murder case. Y'all, is it the Rose Petal murder case? I don't know. Anyway, it'll say on like the cover photo of this video because I don't remember right now. Look, this is part 2. Did you watch part 1? You thought part 1 was crazy, right? I thought part 1 was crazy myself. These are throwback videos. I covered this case like a year and a half, 2 years ago, but Zachary Hughes is going to trial in a couple of weeks. So we are revisiting the Rose Petal? I think it's Rose Petal. We are revisiting this Rose-related murder case. Right. I mean, the Rose Petal unalive case. These people are crazy, right? In part 1, we went over a broad overview of what happened in the case. In part 2, we go deep into Zachary Hughes. We learn all his personal business and his family history and everything. And if you thought part 1 was unhinged, wait till you see part 2. This mess is crazy in the best possible way. Okay, so look, if you haven't already, go ahead and watch part 2 and now enjoy part 2 of the Rose something or other murder case. Okay, lunchtime crew, you know what time it is. It is true crime lunchtime or lunchtime true crime. Always lead with the food. Okay, lunchtime true crime. It is time for us to talk about it. Now listen, cast your mind back to last week when we were talking about Fitz News and the Fitz Files. That's their new podcast. I have tremendous resentment against Will Folks, not for any good reason that has anything to do with me. I just think he's a little sleazy. But at the same time, listen, Will Folks, he brings the heat. Will Folks has the gossip about everybody down there in South Carolina. So what am I supposed to do? I am just your friendly neighborhood gossip, and he is my best source for South Carolina gossip. So when it comes to other places, I'm not going to look to Will Folks. But when it comes to South Carolina, well, we got to go with Will. But that's okay because we about to get it done. But first, don't forget to hit the like button. Soon as you walk through the door, just hit like. Let's just get that out of the way. Like and subscribe, and then we can talk about Zachary Hughes. Now listen, we're down here in Greer, South Carolina, talking about the Rose Petal murder case. That's where this lady, Christina, got killed. And so last week, Friday, I think it was, the last time we got together, we talked about Christina and what the overview of the crime and whatever. Today, we need to talk about her accused murderer. Now listen, he is presumed innocent until proven guilty. I personally am not on this jury. I will never be on this jury. And I have decided that he is guilty now with good reason. Now, possibly this was a public service homicide. You know, we are not supposed to do public service homicides because one of our judge friends, was it Judge Newman? Somebody told us that even if somebody is a terrible person, we are not allowed to kill them. We had to take notes because sometimes that can slip your mind. Now, apparently, you can threaten to kill somebody as long as they're not the president of the United States, or you're not really serious, or you don't own a gun, or nobody records it. Something like that. I don't know all the rules, but it's like something like that. But this lady was up to no good in very, very bad ways, including crimes against children and animals. Like, somebody unalived her, and that is sad, but I'm not going to be like protesting because she's no longer here on this mortal coil. So listen, the dude who unalived her, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, okay, Zach Hughes. Let me tell you a little bit something about Zach. Zach was born in California. He was a nice, mild-mannered, I assume he was a mild-mannered young man. And then his family, like, uprooted the whole family and moved to Virginia. Okay, great. That happens. My family did a cross-country move at one point. Fine. Then his whole life changed when he was a young teenager, and his parents adopted 5 kids from Russia. That's a lot of kids. For the life of me, 5 siblings, like a sibling group. Like, I get that that's a really lovely idea and seems wonderful, but that's a lot of kids. Okay, so anyway, apparently the bulk of the responsibility for taking care of these 5 Russian kids who had behavior problems, who had emotional problems, who had all these problems, fell on Zach. And Zach was like, listen, y'all are killing me. But like not in the unalive sense, but he's like, you're driving me crazy, to his parents. So now it went from like him and his brother to now there are these 5 rambunctious kids running around the house, and he is in charge of like helping to take care of them. Zach did not appreciate that. And he was all stressed out. And then his dad one day brought home a piano from like a garage sale. And so he's like, oh, let me just tick, 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 tick. I'm a tinker on the piano and see if that can help relieve some of my stress. Well, he got to be amazing at piano, like truly, truly amazing. Nobody had ever seen anything like it. He got accepted to Juilliard, and everyone's just like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing ever. And everybody from his class in college was like, all the Juilliard people, it's hard to get into Juilliard. Have you ever known anybody who went to Juilliard? As an aside, child. Because I live in the New York City area for the past 30 years, I have a couple friends who went to Juilliard. You know what they never do? Let you forget that they went to Juilliard. It's like somebody who went to Harvard. They're like, so anyway, at Harvard, when I was at Harvard, that time at Harvard, that's how Juilliard people are. Hey, Juilliard people. None of y'all watching this because all y'all out in these streets trying to be actors and actresses. And some of you are doing well. And a lot of you are broke. And most of the women just had to marry rich men. But you ain't heard that from me. So anyway. He's over there. He's playing the piano furiously. He was so good that he got a scholarship to Juilliard. And they are like very, very prestigious and very selective. He was considered to be a piano savant. Oh, I am a gossip savant. So anyway, he's playing the piano. Everybody loves him. They think he's a great guy. Great. But he's like, that's not enough. How could I be really, really extra? And so he's like, I will also join the Marines. Okay. To me, piano playing and joining the Marines, that don't seem like a good match. What if you hurt your hands? They're not going to let you like do war stuff where you don't use your, I did not understand that choice at all, but they didn't recruit him. He walked into the Marines place and was like, hey, I'm a really good piano player and I would also like to go shoot guns, please. And thank you. And they were like, you are very smart. We're going to put you in officer training school. So he was like, okay, great. And so he goes to train to be an officer in the Marines while still being a piano player. Listen, if I was going to go to the military, I would be like, I'm going to need to join your gossip division. Oh, you don't have news? Do you have newspaper? Y'all got to okay. That's what I'm going to do. And then I would run the gossip column on the newspaper for the Marines. All that shooting the guns and getting hot and sweaty and sleeping in cabins and sleeping bags instead of getting dirty. No, thank you. That's just not my gift. That's just not my gift. But anyway. So he goes off, he joins the Marines, he's going to be an officer, he's still playing the piano, and the training is really, really hard, and so he gets injured. And he's like, oh, I have an owie. And they were like, okay, go home, recuperate. When you're feeling better, you can come on back, and we're going to put you in the Marines. And he was like, okay, but he needed to make money in the meantime. So he went back to South Carolina, and he became like a handyman. Also, he played the piano. Seems like an odd combination, but okay, whatever. And he was playing at this church and everyone, the Unitarian Universalist Church down there and wherever he was. Do y'all know UUs? I used to be a UU once upon a time, back when I used to go to church. UUs are delightful. If I had to join a religion, I would absolutely be a UU because they are delightful. And they just sort of let you like go to church and eat their muffins and stuff. And they have nice songs. They read poetry instead of scripture. I really like them UU. So anyway. He's over there playing at the UU church, which I'm sure they adored him because they love everybody. And he's like, I'm going to play all 32 of Beethoven's sonatas. And I was thinking, why? But he was just like, no, this is my passion. Okay, sir, please go do your passion. And I'm thinking, how did this Marine Beethoven playing piano savant who's good with kids end up killing somebody? Because it does not make sense. It doesn't make sense to the police either. But anyway, while he was playing the piano at the church, he met this dude. What's the dude's name? I wrote it down. John Melo. John Melo was a music lover. Also, the ex-husband of Christina Parcells, who was killed last week, right? Well, not last week. In last week's episode, she got killed. So Zach is over here playing the piano and fixing stuff up at Mr. Melo's house. And John Melo was like, hey, you're good with your hands, aren't you? Could you do me a favor? I love music. You love music. We have so much in common. Could you kill my ex-wife? And he was like, oh, listen, I'm a Unitarian and we don't believe in murder. So no. And, John Melo was like, oh, no. It's going to be a public service homicide because she's abusing our child and we're in the middle of a custody battle. So if you could just go on over there and unalive her, I would really appreciate it. And Zach was like, oh, well, now that you say that, I mean, she's harming children, your child. And wait, is she also harming bunnies and puppies and kitties? And John Melo was like, she's hurting everybody. Her and her fiance, Brad Post, they're over there doing terrible things to all the bunnies. And Zachary Hughes was like, I will not stand for it. And so he's like, don't you worry about it. I used to be in the military and I play piano. So I'm good with my hands and I can make a plan. Those two things go together. And now I'm like, oh, I see where all of his life choices have led him to this place where he is well equipped to unalive a lady in her house. So John Melo was like, great. Listen, can you fix that squeaky cabinet? Because every time I open the cabinet door, it makes that terrible. Oh, just WD-40. You gonna put some W? Okay, great. So I'm gonna double the cost of your handyman fee. Oh, you'll do it for free? Okay, whatever. I mean, truthfully, we don't know if he did it for free. I just decided that right now. But while he was squirting the WD-40 on the cabinet to make sure it didn't squeak anymore, and he was sweeping off the back porch and everything, he was like, I'm gonna kill a lady. And so he plotted and he planned and he decided how he was going to kill this lady. Now, he was living over at some of his friend's house and the friend was like, here's a truck for you to drive. And so he was driving the truck and he was like, wait, there's a bicycle out back. Do you mind if I borrow your bicycle? I need to get some cardio because I don't get that much cardio just sitting here playing all these Beethoven sonatas. And they were like, of course, use the bicycle whenever you want. And he was like, okay, but then he never touched the bicycle. And they were like, that's funny. And then they forgot about it. Meanwhile, turns out Mr. Hughes put the bicycle in the back of his truck and then drove the truck over to someplace and then got off the bicycle and tippy-toed into Christina's house and unalived her, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. Well, he kind of beat her up first and she was like scratching like you do when someone's trying to unalive you in your very own home while you're minding your business. Yes, she was diddling bunnies, but she was like, I didn't think nobody knew about it. Why is this stranger who is humming a beautiful tune? Why is he over here trying to unalive me? So she scratched his face like you would. And so when they found her unalive, his DNA was under her fingernails. That's how we know he did it. I'm not saying, okay, I'm saying that he did it, but I'm not a judge or a lawyer or even on the jury, so I can say whatever I want. So anyway, he tippy-toes, he rides the bike, he drives the truck, and then gets out of the truck and rides the bike, and then they know he rode a bike because it was on all the Ring cameras. So the Ring cameras caught Ring camera's out here solving crimes, y'all. I've been telling you, Ring camera is out here solving crimes. So on the Ring camera, they see him ride up to the house with a backpack on, and he goes in the back door and he unalives the lady. I don't know where the rose petals came in. All I know is that she was unalived, stabbed like 37 times in the face. That's a lot of stab wounds. The head and neck. Plus, it's a lot of bones. Didn't you hit bone? Okay, whatever. And if you really wanted to unalive somebody quickly, wouldn't you just shoot them or stab them right in the heart? I don't understand his thinking. But he's very planned and methodical. And I am not. I don't have skills in the unaliving area. So maybe he knows things that I don't know, which is totally fine. Mr. Hughes, excuse me for judging your technique in unaliving people. So anyway, however he did it, when he went there, she was alive. And when he left, not so much. And so he rode his little bike back over and then went on back. And he was just sweeping up the yard and edging the garden or whatever, because he was a handyman. He was doing all the handy things. And meanwhile, his friend who put him up to it, Mr. Melo, he was out of the country. He was like, I have the best alibi ever. Me and my daughter, we over here in Italy, probably listening to some delightful music because Italians make good pizza, good wine, and delightful music. So he was like, I have the best alibi. I was out of the country. So when the cops found Christina unalive there with all the knife wounds and she's dead and the roses or whatever, they were like, hello, neighbors. Hey, can we get your Ring camera? Yeah, okay, thanks so much. And they're like, who is this dude with the bicycle? So they looked at the Ring camera with the bicycle, and then they started looking at all the traffic cameras, and they're like, oh, what have we here? A dude in a truck with the bicycle in the back. And they followed the cameras backwards, the traffic cameras backwards to this dude's house. Sir, there are cameras everywhere. This murder, I know you planned well. I know you did. And I know you protected your hands so you can still play the piano down at the church on Sunday morning. We'll see you there. Well, we won't, but we thought we was going to see you there. They were like, yes, sir, the traffic cameras are doing you in, but he did one crafty thing that I have been advising criminals to do for a very long time. Now listen, I am not about the business of helping criminals, but if you're going to be a criminal, at least be a smart one. And you know what he did that was really smart? Zachary Hughes, the alleged murderer, and John Melo, the dude who put it up to him, who were BFFs. Everybody's BFFs with their handyman. They used WhatsApp. Is this a commercial for WhatsApp? No, it is not. But what I'm saying to you is that WhatsApp has end-to-end encryption. So that means everything that's on that you communicate on WhatsApp, no trace of. The FBI can't even crack it. So when they found Mr. Hughes and they arrested him, first of all, he communicated with WhatsApp and then he deleted all the messages. They were smart cookies, but not all of their messages were in WhatsApp. Some of them were just like regular SMS texts and whatever. And so the judge was like, you're going to need to hand over the password to your iPhone. And he was like, right. No, I'm not going to do that. And they were like, no, we need you. And they hadn't arrested him first, right? They were like, we're going to need to get the passcode. And he was like, yeah, no. And so finally a judge was like, if you don't hand over the passcode, we're going to put you in jail. And he was like, good luck with that, because I've been in the military. I have slept in terrible places. And so you could put me in jail. So he goes to jail. Well, first they said, he was like, oh, I'm going to give you my passcode. My passcode is dog cat 463 exclamation point. And they were like, great, thanks so much. Are you sure? Write it down. Is anything uppercase? Is anything lowercase? And he was like, all of it is lowercase. And they were like, okay. So they put that in and they were like, sir, that is the wrong passcode. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. The D in dog is uppercase and the C in cat. And they were like, okay, thanks so much. We know you wouldn't tell us an untruth. So great, thank you. So they went and they tried that. No joy. And so they were like, sir, you are jerking us around. We're going to need the real passcode. He's like, okay. It's bunnies, kittens, fluffy, buggery, 456. And they were like, okay, great. Is buggery capitalized, not capitalized? And he was just like, it's all uppercase. So back and forth, round and round they go. And he keeps giving them the wrong passcodes. You know what I want to know? What fake passcode, like what was the actual passcode? What did they tell him? And what did he tell them? And how long did it take them to figure out, like, this boy was a lying sack of sugar? But listen, he kept them at bay for a long period of time. And then finally they were like, the judge was like, I will put you in jail if you don't get the right passcode. And he was like, okay, I will go to jail then. Listen, you could ask me for my social security number, how I spell my name, a picture of my birth certificate, my firstborn child, whatever. Jail? No, thank you. No, I'm going to give you everything. My passcode is ABC123. I love to gossip. Something, I don't know. I would give you the whole passcode. But the courts were like, the FBI was like, we can't figure it out. And at the rate we're going, it's going to take us 4 years to crack this code. These people watched the Murdoch trial, because on the Murdoch trial, they told us if you have a 6-digit passcode, it can take forever. So this dude has the long passcode and he used WhatsApp and he hid some of the messages. Well, they finally got into part of his phone and they got part of the messages, and the messages, they were like, we think they're talking in code. They said things like, how was the music research? And it was like, the music research went great. What music research are you talking about? You should have said something like, is the agitator in my washing machine working now? Because that is not a passcode. That's a real thing. So anyway, and if your agitator is not working, your clothes won't get clean. And that is a problem. So anyway, it was going to take them years to crack the code. They got some of the messages, but not all of them. And then Mr. Zachary was like, well, I will just sit here and enjoy prison because I used to live with a bunch of brothers and sisters and this ain't nothing. And so the cops were like, dang it. Okay, so they kept investigating. Zachary was sitting back in prison, probably like banging out Beethoven sonatas on the table there at the prison house, and they still can't get in his stuff. Meanwhile, while they were doing all the research, Bradley Post, the fiance of the dead lady, gets arrested. And everybody was like, wait, what? What happened? Yeah. Because while they was searching the house, they found pictures of Mr. Bradley Post doing unspeakable things to puppies and assorted animals and young children. Horrible. My only regret is that, is you can't say in polite company that would be another public service homicide. But what I'm saying is, if found guilty, I hope that the law allows a very harsh punishment for that gentleman because ill. So when we left, as we wrap up this story for today, Zachary is in prison because he likes Beethoven. He does not like bad people. Bradley Post is in prison because he likes bunnies too much. Sir, you were probably better off just eating them because nobody would have arrested you for that. The things you were doing with bunnies, very, very illegal. These two dudes are in the same prison. Do you think they're going to be friends? Do you think they're going to play shuffleboard? I don't know what you play in prison. I don't know. Pinochle, cards, blackjack. I don't know. They in the same prison. That sounds like a dangerous situation to me. But we'll have to find out more tomorrow because I don't know what happens in the rest of this story. More coming tomorrow at Lunchtime True Crime. Listen, thank you so much for showing up and listening to this madness. And if you have not already, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and more on the Fitz Files, the Rosebud murder case tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye.